Carl Hayes is up next, Arn. He says, if you were the world champion during your career, who would you like to have traveled the loop against? Let's say in the 80s, where there was a lot of talking fans into the building, and let's exclude Dusty. So he wants to exclude Dusty. Let's do the decade of the 80s, and you're the one who's talking people into the arena. Who would be somebody else that you would have liked to travel across the old house show loop with in your career as world champion?
As my opponent?
That's right. Your opponent. You're the champ.
Magnum.
All right. I like that one.
So much was not done because of his car wreck. He had such a bright future. There would have been so much you could have done. That guy would have been as big a star as anybody in the business. I would have loved to have been working a program 6 months with him and having the promos and the run-ins and all the personal stuff that went along with it. Would have loved it.
Yeah, we got to see some of that with Tully, but never got to see Arn and Magnum.
And look how successful their run was.
So fun. Arn, Brandon Arthur wants to hear your memories or road stories of competing in or being an agent in Cardiff, Wales.
Cardiff, Wales. I remember we pulled around back and went through some big gates and parked the bus back there. I want to say, and for when you're over there on these tours, conveniences, everything, I want to say we were at like a really nice Hilton downtown, and literally right across the street was a super nice gym. Literally just walk across 4 lanes of traffic, you were there, which was a great deal. Because when you're dealing with taxis and stuff like that, there was no Uber back in those days. It was, if you could run down a taxi, and then you had to look up, there weren't any cell phones. None of that stuff. We didn't have any of that stuff. It was word of mouth. Asked at the front desk, is there a gym around here? Oh, yes. So that I remember about the convenience of it. And I remember the crowds were always good. It was a smaller venue, maybe 5,000, but it was full. And I just know that when we're places like that, I've really got to pay attention because the accent is so thick. I'm wondering, I always, had to think about it. Well, imagine how your accent, your southern redneck, sounds to these folks.
Right.
So, let's be a little understanding there. But pleasant memories of being in Cardiff. Pretty countryside.
That's I'm going to piggyback off that. So you've been able to travel. We talked about Japan last week. We're talking about Wales now. Is there a place that you've traveled overseas that just sticks out in your mind and says, "What a beautiful one of your top destinations"? And if you ever had the opportunity, like for Aaron and you, to go check it out, or is there somewhere that sticks out in your mind? Have you been to Australia? Have you been to?
I have.
Okay.
It's just it's almost like America.
Okay.
There's not enough difference
I got you.
And the business is overwhelming. Everything's sold out. Melbourne, huge market. Sydney, huge market. There's 4 or 5 cities over there that just do huge, $900,000, $1 million house. Sydney, me, 1.2.
Do you have a favorite?
Hawaii, I wouldn't mind going back to if it was, maybe Maui, the less commercialized part.
Yep.
But it would need to be when you leave from, if this could be a possibility, you would leave from the West Coast and return to the West Coast to bookings, not, because, buddy, if you fly back now, it's like 13 hours.
It's unbelievable, yes.
You've been that, you've made that
I've done the Hawaii trip, stopped over in Dallas and then over to Hawaii.
It'll kill you, right?
Oh, it's long, man.
Well, when people don't understand that have never made a trip like that, once you've slept all you can sleep, and now you're stuck in that seat, you can't get refreshments at the pace that you hydrate yourself. You can't get enough water. You can't get enough food on those things. The seats are too tiny. It's just that
You better be willing to splurge for first class if you're going to do that. That's what my recommendation.
And even that, it kills you because you're at 50,000 feet. You're not at 35,000 feet. You're 50. And once you've slept all you can sleep, and you cannot sleep anymore, and now they say you got 8 hours left for your mind, for your brain thought process, man, it'll kill you. 8 more hours, and your back's already out. You're swollen. Your ankles and wrists and fingers are swollen from the altitude. It's brutal.
It's not a good time.